Hello there, everyone, and welcome to Ascension 17. My name is Cynthia Clark, and I am going to be doing a live stream every Tuesday at this time at 11:10 Mountain Standard Time. Definitely throughout the month of December and probably next month as well. I may change the time, but I will post it in advance here on our channel. So today, what I want to do is talk about the Great Conjunction that just happened yesterday on December 21st and the planetary implications of that event. And I also would like to just invite everybody to come in. This is a safe and sacred space. I want everybody is welcome to lift our vibration together. So I always want to bring in some positive messages for you each week. So if you have questions, you can put them into the chat. I also read them later. So if you happen to catch this after it's recorded, then you can rest assured I will be looking at the comments, and I'll be answering people's questions as we all ascend together. So I'd like to just open up this live stream with a little toning. Okay, so let's everybody just bring in this nice energy. I want you to take a deep breath. Just feel the love coming in from your higher self, and just exhale any stress. Okay, so ultimately, this is about releasing your stress and the chaos and all of that kind of doom and gloom energy, which is so rampant out there right now. And I invite you to come into love and light. So, my name is Cynthia Clark. For those of you who don't know me, I am a love and ascension coach, and I am honored to be on the pathway of ascension and assisting you with ascension. So, like I said, today we're going to be talking about the Great Conjunction. So, hopefully, wherever you were, you got to see it last night. So, my story is, I live here in Sedona, Arizona, and the conjunction was between Jupiter and Saturn, and they were very, very close in the sky. And luckily, I do have a really dark sky here in Sedona. So that wasn't the problem. And it was clear. So that wasn't the problem either. The problem is I have these beautiful rocks that the red rocks of Sedona are quite famous, and they sometimes block the horizon. And that was the case. I was at my house and I couldn't see the southwest horizon very well. I actually have a much better view of the north and northeast and east horizon. My south and southwest horizon's a little bit blocked. So I got into the car with my husband and we had to drive down the street a little ways to get a good view of the conjunction. But we did manage to see it. I did manage to take a picture. But, of course, these types of events are best seen with the naked eye or with a telescope. So I think my brother actually did get some pictures. I'm going to have to take a look. He lives in Salt Lake City, Utah. So hello, everybody. If you're in Utah, that's where I'm from and used to live. And for all my friends in Colorado, that's a pretty tricky place too. Sometimes they have a beautiful sky, but in Aspen, the mountains again are so big that it's nearly impossible to see anything unless it's right overhead. So hopefully you folks got to get out there and see some beautiful stars. So what is this conjunction? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about it. The joining of these two planets, Jupiter and Saturn, in Aquarius. Okay, so we're looking at the constellation Aquarius. And so what does this mean? Aquarius is fixed air. And so we're finally moving into this. This officially welcomes the age of Aquarius. And so this is like the dawning of a new age is happening right now. And I believe our timeline for the planet's ascension is 2029. I've talked about this before, but it comes from the end of the Mayan calendar, which was 2012, to add the number 17, and you get 2029. And I've been seeing the number 17 pretty much nonstop now, 10 times a day for months and months. So it's definitely the universe. When you have synchronicities, the universe is trying to tell you something. And so that's why I have come up with that year 2029. Other people have come up with it as well. So I've done some research on it. And it's quite fascinating. Now, the conjunction and the ascension are all personal, though, right? Okay, we have the planet, which is going through its transition, but then we also have individuals, and you as an individual are going through a transition as well. And we're all on our own timeline. Okay, so moving into Aquarius. Aquarius is all about humanitarianism. It's about looking at things more as a cosmic perspective, as a global perspective. So taking a bigger view, stepping out and looking at a bigger view. And that also ties in with Jupiter. And Jupiter's energy is also about the big picture, big vision, leadership, taking leadership. Talking live, for example, is not easy. Okay, especially for introverted starseeds like myself. Getting out here and this is live, and anything can happen, right? It's difficult to do this. So I welcome other starseeds, other light workers to get out of your comfort zone, because the age of Aquarius supports you. And we all need to work on raising our vibration, and we need to spread messages of love and light. Okay, this is super important, because as we are shifting into this new age, we need a certain number of people to be awake. And I think that number is only 3% of the global population. It's actually not that much. And I think more and more people are waking up every day, and hopefully they're able to see the light of themselves, the light of the planet, the light of where we're actually going. And I'm here to support you in that pathway. So Aquarius is also about innovation and being open to unusual, innovative ideas. A lot of inventors were Aquarians, and my ex-husband was actually an Aquarian. So I lived with one for 22 years, and he was totally an inventor. He definitely knew things that I had no idea about. And he saw the world differently. So sometimes we need to tap into that innovation in order to grow. We need to get out of that comfort zone of how it's always been done, right? We're moving into a new way of doing things, and it's a whole new realm that is uncharted territory. But that's how that's how we evolve, right? That's how we grow. Because if we keep doing the same things over and over again, and we expect a different result, right? That's what they call insanity, right? So we got to do things differently. So the energy of Aquarius really supports that, and being able to tap into that is important. So Jupiter, the planet of vision and leadership and growth, optimism, expansion, coming into that Aquarius energy of humanitarianism and innovation. I mean, this is a very, very big event. And then Saturn coming together as well. Saturn is the planet of destiny, right? Saturn is the taskmaster. Saturn is discipline. Saturn is hard work. And when these two come together, we have a really beautiful opportunity to grow as a planet and grow personally as well. So you can also tell your own personal Jupiter and Saturn energy through your hands. And I'm an expert in hand analysis. I've read over 7,000 pairs of hands in my career. And I want to just point out that you have a Jupiter and a Saturn on your own hands. Okay, so if you want to know if you're what I would call Jupiterian, okay, take a look at your index finger. That's your Jupiter finger, and put all your fingers next to each other. Okay, this is how you tell the quality. We measure the fingers next to each other. Okay, so if Jupiter is longer than Apollo, which is your ring finger, then you would be called a Jupiterian. Okay, that would show a strong Jupiter. So if you look at my hand, you can clearly see my Jupiter finger is very, very long relative to my Apollo. So that is an example for you. Now, Saturn, if Saturn is your strong finger, okay, I'll show you my left hand because it's actually strong on my left hand. Then Saturn is going to tower above the two fingers next to it. Okay, so these two fingers are not going to come up to the halfway point of the upper phalange of Saturn. That's how you can tell if your Saturn finger is strong. Okay, so if your Saturn finger is strong, then that means that the traits of Saturn are going to be dominant in your personality. If your Jupiter finger is strong, that means the Jupiter traits are going to be dominant in your personality. And your hand shape's pretty much formed by the time you're about 6 years old. So you can tell the quality of your fingers. You can tell the qualities of energies that are coming through. There's, of course, you have a Jupiter mount, you have a Saturn mount, you also have a Jupiter line, which would be coming up from the lifeline. Okay, so you may also have a Jupiter line. These are minor lines, though, so you may or may not have them. But it just shows how much you strive to tap into that Jupiter energy, right? How much do you strive to make improvements and expand and grow? People with a dominant Jupiter line are going to be more focused on that. And the lines change too. So you don't necessarily start with that line. They ebb and flow like rivers of energy. Your Saturn line, which is also called the fate line, is a major line in the hand, and it comes up to your middle finger. And that is also called your destiny line. But destiny is a strong term because that indicates that you don't have free will, which you do. And like I said, all the lines are changeable. Okay, so, but you can check the quality of your Saturn line. People who have a really strong one are going to be more set in their pathway because that's the nature of that line. If it's that strong, if it's more weak, it shows that you're more flexible in your career path. Okay, so I kind of read that as more of a career path, work path type line. Okay, so go ahead and just take a look at your own hands and see, what is it doing for you? So if you have that Jupiter energy already, then I would encourage you to tap into your bigger vision as a regular part of your pathway. And it also represents that you're here to share that with others. So I've been accused of being overly optimistic pretty much my whole life. I'm always the one looking at the roses, right? Here's the rose behind me. I'm always smelling the roses, and I downplay things that are negative, which is a way to be, right? We can see that glass is half full, or we can see that glass is half empty. But it's easier for Jupiterians to see the glasses as full or half full. And I'm also a Sagittarius in my birth chart, which is again ruled by Jupiter. So I've got all this Jupiter energy. So I'm full of optimism, even when other people are not. If you have too much Saturn energy, by the way, that can be the opposite. That can be someone who's overly serious, overly focused on the duty, and that type of energy, which is not bad. It's actually good to have a little bit of a balance, and that's why it's so neat that this conjunction was bringing these two together. So, for the planet, what it means moving into the age of Aquarius is that we are now clearly focused on shifting. Okay. Obviously, the world is changing so quickly right now. Most people can't even keep up with it from day to day. But we need to focus on what we want to bring into the world, which for me, that's love and light and tolerance, compassion, forgiveness, beauty, strength, healing, all of these things, purpose. This is what's important to me. And hopefully that's important to you too. But if we're too focused on the negative, we're going to slow it down. We're going to have a personal struggle more than we need to. And ultimately, it's about how much suffering do you want to have versus how much do you not want to have, right? Okay, so I had a dream the other night. By the way, dreams are highly significant, and it's really important to pay attention to your dreams because they are messages coming directly from your higher self. Okay, so I had a dream that I was observing my family. Okay, specifically, my mom was going up a mountain, and her family lineage was coming up behind her. Okay, so if there's any of my relatives out there listening, this is for you. Okay, so what that is an indication of is yes, you're on your pathway of ascension, right? You're going to make it to the top of the mountain, which is where we're all heading. We're going up, right? We're going up in vibration. But it was interesting because I came in, I'm not sure how I arrived, whether it was by helicopter or tram or gondola, or if I just flew to the top. I'm not quite sure how I got there, but I just arrived at the top and I greeted my mom. And she had leeches on her back and she had flies in her hair. And I brushed them off. I just brushed them all off and I greeted her. And that was the end of the dream. So, first of all, everybody in your dream is actually you. Okay. So when I look at, like, seeing my mother in the dream is actually the mothering side of myself. And the leeches represent like the negative energy, the lower vibrations, and the flies represent like things that bother me. So it was showing me that I can brush that off and I can mother myself and I can go the easy way to the top of the mountain if I choose. So it was basically a dream about not suffering and not needing to suffer. It could also parallel as a message for my ancestors in that they can choose the pathway of suffering and stress and the leeches, or they can brush them off and choose the pathway of ease and light. And ultimately, that's what I would welcome everybody to choose. Yes, we do learn from suffering, and yes, we do learn from stress. And that's partly why so many of us are going through all this, drama and trauma right now. But at the same time, you can choose a different reality for yourself. And that's what I encourage you to do. So start to focus and pivot your focus on the positive. How can I raise my vibration? And that's what I'm here for. And we're gonna do some messages on that today. So I want to move on to some messages from my tarot cards. I've brought in a couple of oracle cards this week. I like to give a positive message every week. And this week I brought in the energy oracle cards. This is Sandra Ann Taylor. She's definitely got some beautiful light. And I'm also bringing in postcards from Spirit, which is a Colette Baron Reed deck. She's got tons of decks, and I've got a bunch of her decks too. So let's go ahead and just start out with the energy cards. And I'm going to pull a card for all of you. And this will be our focus for the week. So if you want to do any personal readings with me, by the way, I do invite you to join my Sphere of Infinite Light membership. I've got 2 levels of membership. Both of them actually, where I will read your hands and give you a heart chamber report, so you can find out exactly where your 10 heart chambers are and how they're doing. It's really beneficial to help you on your path of ascension. Okay, so here is your message for today, for this week. Okay, so we're getting 7th chakra, Archangel Uriel. Okay, now in this picture, it's depicted as a woman. By the way, archangels, they are actually asexual. They can be male or female, depending on just what you want to resonate with. But the 7th chakra is, of course, the crown chakra. And it represents opening up to the epiphanies, right? Uriel is the fire of God archangel. And this archangel helps you to tap into that, the light, the fire, right? What is that purpose? What is that you need to know about? So we can call in any angelic assistance, archangels, ascended masters, spirit guides, ancestors, living or dead. By the way, you can call in their energy, call in their higher self if there's somebody that you really connect to. Ultimately, it is up to you who you wish to call in. But the message today is that you may call in Archangel Uriel and get that epiphany energy of what you need to learn or know. Okay, so let's pull another card from the postcards from Spirit. And thank you for being here, by the way. I really appreciate all of you. And I hope this is helpful. This ultimately, the live stream is for you. So it gives me an opportunity to be with you and interact with you. And as we grow the channel, right, it's going to take a little bit of time, but we're going to work on it. Okay, so this is a little bit longer. I'll just read it to you, okay? Dearest you, there are times when loss is part of life. Sometimes a loss is welcome, like when you leave a situation not in alignment with your highest good. Sometimes a loss is sudden and painful, like when a loved one crosses over to our dimension. Regardless of the nature of the loss and your control over it, your experience is asking to be acknowledged. Tears are necessary, as is grief. When you repress the natural expression of loss and try to move on too quickly, the unprocessed pain haunts you in destructive ways. We don't want that for you. Instead, let your heart break open wide. Feel the loss and integrate it. See the beauty that was, the lessons learned, and know that as you let go of what is past, even more of you remains. It gets better, we promise. Your heart expands with more compassion for the world than ever before. Love heals all. We are loving you, sending you love always and forever. Okay, so this is your message this week from Spirit. And this is beautiful because, yeah, like I was saying, that suffering pathway, right? We were just talking about that. It is sometimes a beautiful learning process to go through some suffering. Some of my best lessons I've learned through suffering. And I want you to love yourself through whatever pathway it is that you've chosen, whatever pathway that your higher self has chosen for you. And looking forward, remember, call on Archangel Uriel for an insight, and see what comes up and pay attention to those synchronicities, pay attention to your dreams. What are they trying to tell you? Ultimately, that dream I had was telling me, hey, you need to mother yourself. You need to take care of yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself all the time, which is something that I tend to do. Jupiterians, even though we are optimistic, sometimes when it comes to ourselves, we can be very hard on ourselves. And that is something that we need to work on. So let's go ahead and just close this week out with a little invocation. I call it the Light Workers Invocation. You can also call this a Starseed invocation. Okay, and this will kind of set us up for the rest of the week. Okay, so I really appreciate you coming on today. Definitely check out my website, ascension17.com. I've got a free video series, by the way, if you're interested in helping you with the first step of ascension. So you can learn all about the first step and you can learn how to take that step. So it's a 3-part video series and it's free. So, all right. So we're going to move into what I call the Wheel of Fortune mudra. Mudras help us tap into specific energies. Okay. So they're just hand positions. And I wrote about these in my book, Stories in Your Hands. And each archetype has a different mudra associated with it. Today, I'd like to tap into the Wheel of Fortune because we are rolling into a new cycle, the age of Aquarius. And how to do that is we put our ring fingers together and our thumbs together. Okay, so it's kind of like a little circle like this. And hold this position just over your heart. Okay. And I want you, I'm going to read an invocation. I want you to breathe this invocation in and think it with me after I repeat it. And I want you to exhale out any grief or stress or sorrow through your exhale. All right. I am safe to show my sunlight. It is fair. It is bright. I matter and I count. My voice reverberates as I mount. The top of the mountain I go. The seeds of love I ever sow. Okay, take a deep breath in. Exhale and feel the strength of those words as they integrate into your energy system. So when you're ready, you can go ahead and release the mudra, and hopefully you feel rejuvenated, refreshed. Hopefully you feel love from me, feel my light. I'm definitely here for you. And if you have any questions or comments, please post them. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of me. And like I said, we're going to do this live stream every Tuesday. So join me again next week, same time, same place. And we will be talking about something relating to ascension once again. So until then, have a beautiful week and remember to tap into your infinite light. Have a beautiful day, everyone.